In this problem, they give you the mass of the Cheerios, which I call M sub C, the mass of the Wheaties, the force of friction on the Cheerios, the force of friction on the Wheaties, and the overall force that they're using to push with. And what they're asking you for is the force of the Cheerios on the Wheaties, the force in here, which is a contact force, and I call that F sub C. So here are my free body diagrams. For the Cheerios, I have weight of the Cheerios, mg. I have normal force on the Cheerios. I have this pushing force, F. And backwards I have the friction on the Cheerios and the contact force. Then for the Wheaties, I have mass of the Wheaties times gravity, normal force on the Wheaties. Forwards, I have the contact force. That's the only thing pushing the Wheaties forward. And then backwards, frictional force on the, this is supposed to be Wheaties. And this is supposed to be, that's the contact force, but that's frictional force on the Wheaties. Okay, so then we can write our equations. Here we have, in the x direction, pushing force minus the contact force minus the frictional force is going to be equal to mass of the Cheerios times the acceleration. In the y direction, normal force minus the weight equals 0. I'm not going to write friction equals mu times the normal force because we know what the friction is, so we're not going to use that. Over here, the contact force minus the friction on the Wheaties is going to be equal to the mass of the Wheaties times its acceleration. And then in the y direction, normal force minus the weight is equal to 0. All right, so we are looking for this contact force. It's here and it's here. And in both of these equations, we also have acceleration, and we don't know what the acceleration is. So what we need to do is to solve for the acceleration in one equation and plug it into the other one. What I usually do is I take the easier one, this one looks easier to me, and solve it for the acceleration. So I see here that acceleration is going to be equal to the contact force minus the friction on the Wheaties divided by mass of the Wheaties. And I'm going to take this and stick it in there. And so now I'll have a new equation, maybe I'll make it purple, that's F minus contact force minus friction on the Cheerios is equal to mass of the Cheerios times this ugly thing. And now we need to do some algebra on that to get it into a form that's easier to work with. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides by m sub w. And I'm going to distribute this. Okay? So then I'll have something that looks like this. M sub w f minus m sub w fc minus m sub w friction c equals mcfc minus mcfw. All right? Now it's everybody with the contact force on one side, everybody without the contact force on the other side, which means that this guy has to go that way, and this guy goes this way, and we have this new equation. Right, and then we just, let's see if I can erase that. Didn't mean FW, I meant FC. Okay, so then I'm going to factor this like this, and then divide both sides by this thing, and then I'll have an expression I can plug numbers into.